So there is a lot of black and white truth in gray exchanges, gray relationships, gray dynamics, and gray decisions. Guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Bird Brain Podcast, where the goals are rise above it all, stay elevated, create that infinity up your you. I'm your host, Isaiah. It's the first week of December. I got a new plant. I got a new plant. She's gorgeous too. She's dope. Just like it's funny when I pick out plants or anything really. I think about the personality of the thing, the plant, um, the decor. I think about myself. I'm like, does this align with Isaiah, who Isaiah is? And then I go from there. And this plant is just, she's just dope. And the beautiful thing about it is that it's a she. The nursery that I get it from, just great, amazing people, just awesome people. So much history in that spot. Very well knowledge. It is an awesome spot. Like it's really it's gonna become like my nursery home. You know what I'm saying? Or it already has been. That was when I got my plant 2, 3 years ago. My first plant. That's where I got it from. And then I was just like, well, I'm gonna stick to what I know. And so I went back. And yes, they're sweet. They are so sweet, and we get to talk and we have a good laugh. Now my headshot is hanging on their wall next to Jennifer Lewis. If you guys know who Jennifer Lewis is, and just cool stuff, right? And then I also, just went to the bookstore because that's what I do. And it's so funny. Whenever I go to the bookstore, it's so interesting for me to. I have moments that I recognize that I'm an author and my book is on the shelves in Barnes and Noble, right? It crosses my mind, but it doesn't really stick. It doesn't stick. I'm just like, I'm here to get books. And then I'll see my book and then I'll stare at it for a second. I'm like, man, like that's so crazy. But it was something in that experience that happened that just gave me like a different feeling. And it wasn't the best feeling, but it was definitely a sobering experience of like understanding, you know, there is a lot, and my book is obviously the coloring book. Life is in black and white, but our experiences color who we are. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, there are some very gray experiences, very gray behaviors that have some pretty black and white understandings, right? Last week we talked about ambivalence, right? The doorway, standing in the doorway. And, you know, it's interesting because some folks may not even stand in your doorway. They may like seriously walk into your house. But even in that space, you welcome them as a guest into your house using life. You welcome them as a guest and you get to see what kind of guest they are. And even that's information, right? One of the things I say and I've also learned is that any person whose objective or intention is to be clear, you will not walk away feeling confused. You ever have a conversation with someone, right? And things are mentioned, and it seems like you guys are on the same page, right? Because they're agreeing, they're saying all the right things, whatever. And you still walk away feeling kind of like, did I did I count on my change? Or did I forget something? It's that did I forget something feeling, right? And the reason being is because there was a lack of clarity in that exchange, right? Things were said. However, there's something that registered for you where it's like, I do not feel settled in the response that I got. I do not feel settled in this relationship dynamic. I may not even trust this person the way that I used to. And it's interesting because you kind of walk away in this perpetual gray. It's like, something just doesn't add up. Something doesn't fit. And then over time, you get your truth, right? You get the black and white of why it was so gray. And sometimes it doesn't come directly from that person. It comes in a ways of just an experience, right? Or just kind of taking a step back and just kind of giving things play. Just simply allowing people to be. The reason why I love my plants so much, and I'm jumping back and forth for a reason. The reason why I love my plants so much is because they're very good communicators. I remember a couple of years ago, I had got my first plant ever. It was a snake plant. And, snake plants are very low maintenance. You don't really need to do too much to them. However, Isaiah Frizzell was like, well, this is my first plant. Got to take care of it. Got to make sure it's solid, whatever. And it grew. Like, it definitely grew. And it was beautiful. And then finally I noticed that the leaves started to droop. And I was like, wait, what the hell is going on? Why is it? I've been taking care of it. Like, what's going on? Come to find out, I overwatered the plant. And it started to rot. And I couldn't restore it. And I was low key, I was sad about that. I was like, this is my first plant. And there were so many things going on at that time. And it just did not. There was grief, right? There was some honest grief in terms of losing that plant. And some people may be like, oh, it's just a plant, whatever. And it's like, for me, no, it's not. Everything has its place for me, especially things that are growing or that I'm responsible for growing. So whether it's a plant, whether it's interpersonal connection, a friendship, a romantic partnership, my business, client, rapport, everything has a purpose, right? So I am pretty black and white in terms of what my intentions are with those things. When things start getting gray, that's when I realize either I'm not sure of certain things or the other person or the other thing. See, in the plant case, they communicate, right? My one plant is a nerve plant, pink nerve plant. Not the one that I recently got, but got her in September with another snake plant. Her leaves, like, they fall away or they just droop when she's not being watered. And I'm like, at first I thought she died. I was like, oh, Jesus, damn it, again. And then I watered her, and like within 20 minutes I came back and she was just chilling. I was like, no way. So I actually tried to time lapse the video to watch her grow, and I kind of caught it, and I was like, this is so beautiful. It's so cool. But she communicates very clearly. My snake plant is a little bit more like, hey, I don't need too much. But I still, like, I talk to my plants. Like, I talk to my plants, right? And they've been growing. I took them to the nursery and they were like, yeah, you've been taking really good care of these plants. And for me, it was like, I want to learn how to take care of these plants, right? I'm pretty black and white about that. I got them for a reason, right? It's not just decoration for me. It's like, I want these things to grow. And also, they provide me oxygen, so I want to give them life, provide them life and sustain their life, if you will. So I was thinking about that. I was like, as confusing or as convoluted as the plant may be at times, it's still something I'm really willing to learn how to figure out because it's important to me. And I was just thinking about other dynamics with people and things. And I was just like, The reason why it's a gray area a lot of times is because there's a lack of decision. And when there's a lack of decision, there's usually a fear of being disliked, a fear of missing out, a fear of, when I say missing out, is like, oh, what resource do I cut off from this exchange if I'm truly who I am? You know, what resource do I miss out on? You know, a lot of people may not like to admit it, but they really do base their connections on convenience. And it's becoming, or there's an attempt to make it more appropriate. However, it's very, I don't know, it doesn't taste well. And people are not necessarily learning how to take care of other people. They're learning what they need to do to get what they need from others. Okay, I just got to do this in this one moment and I'll get what I need from you. Whether it's peace, their peace, whether it's like actually getting something, or whether it's something more, But whenever there's a perpetual gray that lingers, that is so much information. That is so much information. I had this one experience recently where I was just like, there's been something that has been lingering in my head for a while. I was like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this situation. I don't really know about this thing or this person. I was like, I just don't know. And, I always ask for clarity. I say, give me clarity. Give me peace. Give me clarity. Give me clarity. Give me peace. I am not sure about this individual. And I notice certain things popping up, right? I notice certain things popping up. And one of the best things you can do is this. Whenever you are in a gray, in any situation, state what it is that you need. State what it is that you value. Instead of saying you don't like this, state what it is that you value. Communicate that, right? Make it clear. This is what I value. This is what's important to me. This is what I need. Okay? Because when you do that, right, and you state it clear and you're clear on it, there is no real wiggle room. There's no real confusion on your end. It's very black and white. Hey, I value communication, or hey, I value effort being made to sustain our connection. That really is important to me. Hey, I value this connection as a whole. I really do appreciate when you do boom, 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 boom. State what's important to you. I think so many people get caught up in it's like, oh, I don't like this and I don't like that. It's like, all right, cool. What do you like then? What do you like? State that. Spend more space in the things that you like and that you value and that you desire and that you want to see more of. Do that. Because the clearer you are in terms of what it is that you like, the less confusion you will have lingering in your life, in your own patterns, right? In your connections, in your decision making. State clearly what it is that you like. Stop lingering in the gray because you want everybody to like you instead. Decide more on what you like and value versus trying to stay in a gray to get other people to like you. Okay? Because unsure energy, it impacts everything. And you can pick up on somebody's uncertainty. If you're in tune enough, you can pick up on somebody's uncertainty. So for me, there have been a couple of things I've been very uncertain about. Like even in my own pursuit, whatever. I'm like, man, what is this? Why am I so uncertain? When it comes to me and productivity or certain things like that, I can pinpoint it. I know exactly why I'm uncertain, right? And if I don't, I will unpack it enough to get to the crux of it. It's like, oh, cool, this is why. All right, bet. How are we going to work through this? What needs to happen now? What's next? What do I need? What do I value? What do I like to have? Awesome. Those are the things I'm clear about, and I like to have these things. Perfect. Perfection. How do I create more of that? Okay. How do I exist more in that habit for myself? What do I need to do on my end to create more of this? Okay. As a plant, how do I communicate what I need? Okay. And when you outwardly communicate that to other people in no uncertain terms, okay, you get to see just who other people are on the receptive end of that and how they move in their own lives. Take the good and bad out of it. It doesn't matter. Okay. Communicate what's important to you. This year, I think I've communicated very clearly certain things that were important, that were necessity, right? That were okay, that were not okay, but what I valued the most. I communicated that. And I got to see just how black and white other people were in terms of their intentions, or how gray their motives or their mode of operation was, right? And once I realized the gray, the fog that I was existing in these dynamics, I was like, okay, this is a little bit easier for me to step away from. The reason why is because I communicated what I valued. This person is showing me what they value or what they do not. So by design, we're not compatible. We're not compatible. And if I was a plant and that person was the plant that if the person was responsible for taking care of this plant, like I'm responsible for taking care of them, they were showing me that they have no desire to figure out how I need to be watered. Right? So now I get to do something about it. Because I was clear. A lot of times you hang out in the gray because you're not necessarily being clear. Because when you are clear, you yourself will be a little bit clearer on your mode of operation after. I hope this all makes sense. I mean, it had to make sense for me just because there were a lot of dynamics that were not making sense to me. I was like, I do not get it, right? There are certain behaviors I sincerely don't understand. And instead of me trying to understand the behaviors, I can just instead understand more of what I value and what I don't. You are only in control of yourself. You are only in control of yourself. You cannot control what other people do. You can't control what other people value. You can't control what other people like. You can't even necessarily control what other people say. You can control how you navigate, how you operate, how you discipline. And when I say how you discipline, it's not disciplining other people. How you are disciplined when it comes to yourself. What is your mode of operation? What are your patterns? Okay, how are you showing up? And the more you kind of exist in that space of just like black and white in certain ways, right? The gray doesn't linger as long. You don't want to participate in gray as much. You just don't want to do it. Okay? There's a slight stubbornness that comes with having standards. And stubbornness in a ways of like, I'm not doing this because I don't want to. More of like, this just doesn't align with me. And I don't necessarily need you to change as a person. I'll change. I'll change what I'm seeking from you. I'll change how I view this relationship. I'll change where I keep this relationship. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But I have to do the things that I need to do for myself. Sometimes we have to recognize that the gray is more harmful than the truth. It's much more harmful because you're constantly being dysregulated. Constantly. If you make a clear decision, it's like, oh, well, do I trust this person? Yes or no? No. Just a yes or no. Do I trust them? Yes. Okay, cool. Why do I trust them? Well, because this, and this. All right, bet. Cool. Do I trust them? No. Why not? Well, because these things. Cool. It's black and white. And trust is a thing you can, over time, establish, yes. But all it takes is one time to lose trust. And you don't trust a person when you're constantly deciding if you trust them or not. Okay. Even a situation, like when you're unsure about a situation, the reason why is because you keep going back and forth about it. That is an indication. The gray indicates a black and white. This was such a teachable year for me, y'all. So many ways that I learned so much. And I learned it in ways where I was not necessarily, I was seeking one thing, but I received what I needed. Okay. You want to seek a deeper rapport with a person. You want to have a deeper bond with a relationship. And instead, you get the clarity that you need to recognize that this person does not value this relationship the way that you do. So you're not going to have that kind of relationship, right? You're seeking clear communication to express how you feel about certain things. And you get instead that this person does not have the capacity to hold space for your needs, nor do they want to. And you need to learn that. So you stop trying to show up in this space and be transparent, open, vulnerable, all the things that kind of result in you being shamed or punished for it, right? You want to have better communication. Okay. Instead, you're on the receptive end of someone who's showing you that they either are poor communicators or they are just not really looking to engage in that aspect. I got everything I needed this year and some. And a lot of it required me, again, being very black and white on my end, not waiting for other people to decide, but me literally leaning into the discomfort of black and white. And I still have some choices to make. I still have some gray areas I need to clean out. It's uncomfortable, however, it's necessary, very necessary, right? And I am so cool with that. I am so cool with that. But it's kind of funny, and I got my first plants this year in September, and I always say September is a season of change for me. I don't know, it's always been like a theme in my life. When fall hits, the leaves change for me. The leaves change. Things fall away. There's new growth, right? And I'm just very focused on growing, right? Growing, planting seeds, just really tending to the leaves of life. And yeah, I have 3 plants now. And that is an ironic number. It's a very interesting number for me, actually. Um, yeah, I just had a moment of like reflection where it's like, yeah, I got 3 new plants. And yeah, very, very, very significant things happened this year that are very much symbolic with me getting 3 new plants. Wow. Life is funny. Life is always showing you signs, giving you information. Always, always, always. And it's such a beautiful thing. You just have to trust yourself. You just have to be convicted in how you move through life. You just have to be very intentional and you cannot be afraid. You may be uncomfortable, yes, but you cannot be afraid. Do not be afraid of your growth, right? Don't fear your significance. You can't do both, right? You can't grow and fear the idea of growing because you may outgrow certain things, right? Or other things may outgrow you. You can't fear that if you are looking to grow. Grow is uncomfortable, but it's the safest thing that you can do and participate in. You know, I grew a lot of things this year, and I said I would. I outgrew some things this year, and I resisted. Right, in certain ways, I resisted outgrowing certain things because I was like, no, that's in my head. That's not how I wanted it to be. In my heart, I knew it was necessary. And it's funny because when I decided I wanted to grow, it was like, things kind of move out of your way and work in your favor. Like things and people who are not meant to grow with you or have no desire to grow with you will move out of your way. They won't fight. They won't fight. And then the things that you were supposed to grow with, they'll come along and you'll be a part of that growth process. So, man, just interesting stuff. I hope this one was clear, but it's just been a lot of things I've been in processing and in transition with. And I was thinking, I was like, you know what? A lot of things where it feels gray, there's a black and white truth to it. Are you prepared for it? All right. So with that being said, it's December. Get ready. Just get ready to prepare for what's next in the new year, what's next in the next week, what's new in the next week, things that you want to do and accomplish and what you want to be. But be very black and white about it. Okay? Very black and white about it. That'll make things so much easier, so much safer. All right? Coaching's getting kind of tight. There's a wait list. So if you're looking for coaching, we're doing our best. Okay, we're doing our best, but it got kind of busy for sure. It got kind of busy in the best way possible, and I'm so glad that people are looking to just help themselves, right, and figure out the best way, and to be a part of that process, right? Create some black and white movement for some very gray areas. Yeah. So if you're interested in coaching, check out the website. The link is in the bio. And yeah, that's all I got. Keep things very black and white that are important to you. And the things that you are important to will be very black and white about it as well. Okay? Take care of yourselves, yes? Take care of each other. Take flight.